Hey, my name's Myles, and today I'm going to share with you 3 secrets to building multiple income streams. So I recently shared a video where I talked about the 5 income sources that I have that make me $68,000 per month. And by the way, thanks for all your comments and your feedback on that video. I really love getting it and I appreciate it a lot. So that video was about my story and my specific sources of income, which by the way, you can check that out here if you haven't already. But it made me start to think that if I was going back and starting everything from scratch again, trying to build up that financial safety net, what are the most important pieces of advice that I would give to myself if I was starting everything again? Today, I wanted to continue that discussion and explain the 3 little known secrets that most people simply don't understand when it comes to building multiple income streams. And not knowing these 3 secrets may be keeping you poor or maybe keeping you from building up these income streams that will enable you to live your life to its potential and to live a life of financial freedom. So my goal with this video is to help you with whatever income sources you're pursuing and whatever stage you're at now, so that you leave this video with a much better perspective on how to direct your efforts and maximize your income in the shortest period of time. So keep in mind, you're getting the personal perspective of a normal guy, that's me, who has, I guess, been lucky enough to build this all up quite quickly. So I hope I can encourage you to go out and do the same thing, but hopefully avoiding at least some of the mistakes that I had to go through along the way. And remember, the most important thing at the end of the day is to smash the like button before we begin. And now let's talk about the first secret to building multiple income streams. Secret number 1 is to start with 1. Now, I don't know if this sounds kind of obvious, but it needs to be said. Build 1, start with 1 and make it a good one. But I know you're asking, well, Myles, but which one and how? And that's a great question. How do you know which business models or which income streams are actually worth pursuing to the point of getting it to this stable income? And the fact is that there are lots of options out there. And I remember when I was starting how confusing it was trying to pick one and commit to it. But I know that if there's one thing that I would tell confused younger me when I was starting out, it's to look for a scalable income stream. This is absolutely the key thing, that when you're picking your first and primary income source, that it's scalable, that it has potential to go, the exponential you see on this graph where somebody's income just goes from nothing to really high. Not overnight, that sounds like a scam, but you know what I mean. It's like you start at one point and then after a couple of months, you're making good money and you can see the potential is up and up and up. And I know you've seen enough examples of that on the internet. You can look on my channel for one specific example if you want. And when you're looking for scalability for your first and primary income source, you still have a lot of options. Amazon, YouTube, software as a service, affiliate marketing, SEO, or Google. Google was listening.
It's possible for Google's contractors to listen to audio recorded when you're talking to your spouse or on the phone, even when you're not interacting with a Google device.
Okay, maybe not Google, but my point is they all work if you're committed to making them work, because they're all scalable business models. You just have to pick one and go into it with the right strategy, the right guidance, maybe the right mentor, but don't get burnt out when you're just in that starting phase. You've got to get to that point where it goes exponential, where you start taking advantage of the scale. So don't think the grass is greener on the other side, because it's not. Just keep building. And here's the issue with looking for multiple income streams when you haven't built out the first one yet, is that it's really easy to fall into shiny object syndrome. So don't be the person who's always looking for the next best thing, but never committing to anything, because then I can guarantee you'll always be the person who never gets there. And I'm speaking from the heart and from experience here. Don't do what I did at the start and try and build income streams that aren't scalable. Before I did Amazon, before I did YouTube, I was picking one income stream at a time and trying to build it. But the problem was that those things that I picked never had the ability to scale. I tried retail arbitrage and flipping electronics, but that was all about me and I couldn't multiply me, and therefore it wasn't scalable. I tried selling used cars, but it cost so much money to start and the margins were so low we couldn't make any money, and so we couldn't scale our investment. And as a result of trying these things which didn't have scale potential, they never got anywhere and I never got anywhere. And it wasn't until I started with Amazon FBA, which is scalable because it's a $100 billion marketplace, it's hands off and it's easy, that I was actually able to come in and take a small chunk of this huge marketplace. And to date, that's turned out to be millions of dollars. So I didn't need to chase all of these different income streams. I just needed to chase one that worked. And if you're still not convinced that you only need one income stream to completely change your life forever, just go ask Jeff Bezos, Warren Buffett, Bill Gates, Larry Page, Mark Zuckerberg, or any of the richest people in the world how many income streams they think they need. And don't just listen to what people are saying, look at what they're actually doing. Let's look at my favorite personal finance YouTuber, Graham Stephan. In just 8 months, he increased his income from $59,000 to $163,000 per month. But do you know where that extra $100,000 per month in extra income actually came from? It didn't come from spreading his time around the 5, 6, or 7 income sources. It came from one, and that one that blew up is the one that changed everything for him. And the reason why that happened is that he chose an income source that was scalable. He stuck in there, he did the work, and he became excellent at it. But hold on, Myles, you said this was a video about multiple income streams. What gives? You're just telling us to go and build one. Yes, it is, and yes, I am. So let's talk about secret number 2, and that is to look for synergies. Follow my advice. Look for that first income stream that's scalable, build it up, put in the effort over time, become excellent at it, and get that income stream to its exponential point. And once you have that one built, then you can go out and start looking for synergies to link that first income stream with new income streams. So a synergy, if you don't know, let's say there's one income stream that pays $100 and a second income stream that pays $100. Synergy is where if you combine those two income streams together and you do them at the same time, you don't have 100 plus 100, you actually end up with 100 plus 100 equals 300. And using Graham Stephan as an example again, he started with real estate originally, and then he started a YouTube channel, but he didn't start a YouTube channel about surfing or about cooking. He started a YouTube channel about, you guessed it, real estate. And it was his unique experience and skills that he had built up in real estate that he could immediately bring across to his YouTube channel. That was what made it blow up originally. In my case, I started with Amazon and I built that up because it's a scalable business model. And then I looked for something I could synergize with where I could take that same skills and experience that I built up and apply it to a similar business. So that's why I started my YouTube channel, and most of my income still revolves around the Amazon ecosystem because I have these two synergistic incomes. I know both of those examples involve YouTube, so let's go with something completely different. How about Amazon itself? Did you know Amazon is actually the world's largest cloud computing provider? What actually happened in that case is that Amazon started with shopping, which is their core, and then they actually found a need within that business for cloud computing services. And so what happened? They built out cloud computing services to meet their own demand. So there was the synergy there. And then as it turned out, that could be a business that could stand out on its own and be its own market leader in a separate space. But the only reason it happened was because of the synergy together. So I could go out tomorrow and try and just add another income stream and try and diversify, and I could go and try a hostel or a restaurant or something. But the fact is that I have no skills and experience, no infrastructure that I can carry across. The opportunity cost of me doing so would be incredibly high, and realistically, I think I'd probably have a pretty bad chance of succeeding. And if I did succeed, it wouldn't help my other businesses in any way, shape, or form because that synergy just isn't there. Now, I've said synergy enough times in the last couple of minutes, so let's move on to secret number 3, and that is to forget about passive income. When you start to look at passive income under a microscope, the concept and even the definition of it just falls apart. It doesn't exist. And I don't mean to say that some income isn't more passive than others. Definitely passive income as a concept just means that, you can do work that's less labor intensive, that you can do the work today. And instead of just getting paid for today's work, you actually get paid a stream of income over a period of time. And that's well and great. But here's the dangerous thing. If you start thinking about the concept of passive income in terms of an absolute, like if you're trying to get to the point of never working and still getting paid forever, at the start, when you're beginning and building up your first income streams, this will really paint you into a corner. Let me explain with a concept that, again, I wish I could have known about 5 years ago when I was first looking at all of these things. Instead of passive income, every type of income stream or business model is on a sliding scale between the time that you have to put in and the money that you have to put in. And on the other side of that scale is the return or the income that you get back versus the risk. And when you're looking for passive income, you start putting yourself into the extremes of that spectrum where you don't want to put in any time, but you still want money back. And here's the thing, if you look on the other side of that scale, that means that you either get very low return, like putting your money in a bank, it'll pay you, 1%, 2%, something like that. Or you go to the other side of the risk versus return spectrum and you get a high return, but you're getting some sort of risk involved with that. That could be angel investing, where you invest money into startups, most of which blow up. Or it could be those ads that you see everywhere about get rich overnight money-making schemes. Yes, they're high risk as well. So that's a trap that a lot of people fall into when they're just starting out and looking for passive income, is either going to one end of that spectrum and putting their money somewhere where it'll get such a low return that they'll never get any growth on that, or putting it into something which promises a high return, but actually has a lot more risk than they expect. If you're starting out and building these income streams, it's much better to be somewhere in the middle of that spectrum, where it's a combination of your time that you're willing to put in and the money that you had to invest as well. And none of those scalable business models, like I mentioned before, like YouTube, like Amazon, like affiliate marketing, none of them are completely passive. You won't get to a point where you don't have to put any time in at all forever and you still get paid. It just doesn't work. But it's really important to understand where you fit on that spectrum. Are you starting out with very little money? In that case, go for a business model that doesn't need money to start. You should go to the other end of that scale and use your time instead. Invest that into your skills and your knowledge and experience. Start a YouTube channel, start an advertising agency, or do the work to build the money to start a business which requires more money. So I can't stress this enough that you can make any of these things work. You just need to understand where you sit on that spectrum and where your preferences are and what resources you have available. And here's the thing, nothing is 100% passive income. And I've experienced this myself recently, where I've been looking for more passive income where I can use, instead of my time, I can use my money. But honestly, when it comes to real estate or it comes to investing, you start to put the time in at the start. You've got to do your research first so that you're not a complete noob. You've got to look for good deals. You've got to crunch the numbers. You've got to do the paperwork. You've got to choose trustworthy companies. And all of that mucking around and that paperwork and investigation, all of that has a time opportunity cost. Like everything else in this world, building income streams doesn't come completely for free. So just understand where you sit on that spectrum and stop thinking about the concept of passive income as this absolute. So those are the 3 secrets that I learned while building up my 5 income streams. Now I wanted to leave you with a quick bonus before we go, and that is to not forget about taxes. Now this completely depends on which stage you're at. If you're just in that initial phase with your first income stream, don't worry about taxes. But if you're looking and you've built that first one up and you're looking at second, third, fourth income streams, start looking at tax minimization as well, because there's a huge difference between making $67,000 at a 50% tax rate and making that same amount of money at a 10% tax rate. It's $26,567. So at a certain point, instead of actually growing another income stream, you want to circle back and look at minimizing your taxes to maximize the amount that you're putting into your pocket. This isn't particularly fun for most of us, but it's something that you should definitely look at if you're at that right stage. Like I said, I won't go into more specifics. You can get it down very low if you know what you're doing. You know, it's possible. It just requires careful planning. Lastly, this is something I learned going from my previous life as a salaried employee. You'll be surprised when you're earning your own income streams how much you can actually do to reduce your taxes. For example, whatever that top tax bracket in your home country is, if you put in the right strategies in place in advance, you can definitely be paying a lot less than that tax rate. And this is one of the biggest advantages to actually working for yourself or owning a business, is that you can do so many more of these strategies than if you're just an employee working a 9-to-5 job. You can love it or you can hate it, but that's the way that it is. So good luck building up your income streams, whatever they may be. If you enjoyed the video, now's the time to smash the like button, subscribe to the channel as well so you get more of these as they come out. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.